am I ever comfortable? It's a little bit cool. I'm glad I brought this thermarest quilt. I've been sleeping in my tent on top of the sleeping bag and using this quilt as a blanket. Actually, until the middle of the night, then I'd crawl into the sleeping bag. The float plane just came over. Seems to be landing at the end of the lake. Well, that's where I've seen them all. I think I've seen that. I think that's the fourth one. I've seen the first one today. I'm just passing away the time. I'm going to be going fishing a bit later. The wind is easing slightly. It's sunnier. It's not really sunny, but I'm having trouble keeping my eyes open. Oh, this is so comfortable. Well, I just saw my first people in 1.5 days. A couple, I saw them head in. I guess it must have been Thursday night during this. There was a strong wind. And the strong wind was coming this way. They were going against it. At that time, of course, I was staying here and 2 guys were staying over there, so I guess they found another campsite somewhere on this lake. I'm guessing that was them. It looked like them. And now they're going the other way. It's Saturday, so I'm guessing that they're gonna head. I don't know if they're gonna camp tonight or finish their journey today. Finally some sun. It's cold on the other side because that's where the wind's coming from and it's in the shade. I was in the hammock and I was actually cool. And here, oh, it's so nice. So I'm just trying to warm up my body. Eating some Roundtree fruit pastels. I'm guessing if I'm going to see any more people, it'll be within an hour or two. It's 2 o'clock. I'll be going fishing a little bit later. No boats in sight. So I've made an executive decision. What is it? It's Saturday. So I'm due back on Monday at Sportsman's Lodge on Klondike Bay, Kukagami Lake. So even though the weather conditions should be favorable on Monday, it's still 20 kilometers. It's going to be a, potentially a 7-hour slog. So I think I'm going to divide it in two. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow, I'm going to paddle out of Donald Lake, 7 kilometers or so. I'm going to do the 1,000 meter portage. And then I'm going to camp in Little Kukagami. There's one campsite almost right across from the portage. There's another one just up. And there's one sort of across the bay. So hopefully one of those will be available. If not, I guess I'll just establish myself somewhere. So if you see in the background, there's no more tarp. I've taken that down. I'm going to do as much packing up tonight as I can. I'm probably going to go fishing later, so I won't pack up the pack raft yet. I think regardless though, even no matter what I catch, I'm not going to eat any fish. I think I'll let them go. I've got a lot of food to eat up. And to be honest, I'm kind of getting tired of eating smallmouth bass. As good as it is, I've eaten it pretty well every day. Since I've been here, I ate it on Sek Lake and Algonquin Park also every night. So anyway, so the good thing is, if I do it this way, each day will only be 3.5 at the most hours of paddling. Tomorrow the wind should be coming slightly out of the north, coming this way, so it should help me. So besides the paddling, I'll just have to set up a camp. I can live with that. It's a good experience, and rather than staying here for the full 6 nights, 7 days, I'll do one night over there. So anyway, I'm actually looking forward to it. Get myself moving. I'm not used to staying still in one place in the middle of nowhere for so long. Well, I've never been out this long anyway. So that's what I've decided, and that's what we'll do tomorrow. Because it's only 3.5 hours or so, I don't really need an early start, but I'm an early start guy anyway. So I can see leaving here 6:30, probably at the latest. Let's say 7, 8, 9, 10, by 11 o'clock I think I'd be on a camp. Anyway, that's a plan, Stan. Rod 360. Oh, that's a nice background. Another Rod 360, the other side of the point. We've got a bit of sun. Probably the last shot I'll get of the full camp in the daylight. It's a lot of space to myself. There's a tent. Now that I've got the tarp and the hammock down, somebody left some paracord up there, so I've just hung a few things. I found that black towel, so that'll stay here. There's my pack sack. It's pretty empty right now, but it won't be tomorrow. Thunder box is kind of that away, around the corner. Look at all this wood I'm going to leave behind. Now this is the normal fireplace when the wind is going from, I guess, the usual direction. First of all that garbage in there. If it don't burn, I'm going to take it with me. Cleaned up all my dishes because I'm eating dehydrated macaroni and cheese tonight. The only alcohol I have left is some PJ's salty caramel Irish cream. There's my little travel pack. And that's a dry bag. He's sad right now because that's the one that held all the alcohol. There's the food bag. It's still got too much food in it. There's my Provita, whatever the hell they're called. Pants, my river boots. Look at that kindling. And then there's some smaller ones, and then that's the old thunder box all chopped up, so it's just ready to burn. And the wood that I collected from the Donald Scott portage a few days ago that I tried to burn last night, that got soaked, is sitting there. It's been drying all day with the wind. Look at this birch bark fire starting kit. It's a big piece that went right around a trunk, and inside is all kinds of birch bark, and then looks like somebody's going to inherit this extra stash of birch bark too. So this is a fireplace when the wind is in the opposite direction. It's hitting me in the face right now, so if I go fishing, when I come back, this is where the action's going to be. Oh, look at that. That's so beautiful. The tree is too centered though. Let's off-center it. Now let's off-center it this way. There we go. Look at that. I've only seen one canoe today. They were on their way out. A couple. And I saw them coming in a couple days ago. So it's been a pretty lonely day today, I guess because of the weather from last night. They must have known something I didn't know. But that storm was exhilarating last night, all the rain. Taught me a few important lessons. If it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. Anyway, I'm starting to rave again. Or am I ranting? Who knows? Now when you're camping, you gotta tie everything down because it could get blown away. And a great way to hang on to things. Look, there's my fall raven pants and my fall raven jacket. Look how somebody left a nail in the tree, but you could use rope, you could use anything, but I got two carabiners. One on a belt loop and one on the jacket loop behind the neck on the inside. So that's a good way to hang on to things. Another way, if it's long enough, like this towel, tie it. Now look at my shirt. I've actually put a piece of paracord around it. Now this little pouch has a clip, so that's no problem. And then this little hanky, or whatever you want to call it, is just tied. So basically you got to do something to stop it from blowing away. Or look at my tent. Well, not my tent, my thermarest. It's actually a sitting pad, but I use it as a knee pad for getting in and out of the tent. I've got a rock on both sides of it, but if the wind was going this way, you'd have the rock on that side. If the wind's going that way, you'd have the rock on that side, but I just happen to put two down. And I've got my tent stakes. I don't really put them in my bag. I just keep them around because I keep using them. As I put things away. And I've got my knife ready when I go to bed. When I go to bed, when I'm inside the tent at the door side of my arm, my hand, so it happens to be my left side, I've got a knife there. I've got my head torch. I've got my normal torch. I've got my snacks. I've got my vitamins. I've got my moisturizer. Yes, real men moisturize. So basically, I've got my clothes bag. I've got my bag. But everything is along the door side because my sleeping pad, I put it against the far side and right up against it. So any free space I have is down at the end, at my feet, and all along the side. So when I get in at night, all the clothes I'm wearing, generally I leave my shoes outside. I'll put my shirt and my trousers along the side or right at the end. Now sometimes, if I really wanted my shoes inside, I'd put them inside some sort of plastic garbage bag or something, and I'd put them down there inside the bag. If I'm afraid of them getting stolen, but here you'd hear people coming. Anyway, it is a tight fit with this little one-person tent, but it still does fit in there. It's amazing how crowded and how comfortable it can get. I mean, it's comfy because everything's right there. You don't have to reach far for anything. It's just some things are on top of other things, so you may just have to look around for them, or feel around for them actually. And then on top there's a bunch of pockets. I always keep my cell phone in a pocket. I've got my Kobo e-reader. After I finish reading, I usually put it in the pocket. I've got my Garmin InReach. I'll clip it onto something there. Sometimes I'll keep my my GPS also inside clipped. If I'm in Saudi Arabia, I will. I tend to put everything inside the tent, but here I clip things outside. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't show you, all the stuff hanging. I've got my InReach, and it's on. Not basically, it's always on. And it's got a carabiner of itself, so that clips onto all sorts of things. My GPS has a carabiner also. It's off right now because I don't need it, but it's clipped. So tonight's meal is Mountain House macaroni and cheese product. Not mac and cheese, macaroni and cheese product. My MSR Pocket Rocket 2 took 4 minutes and 34 seconds to boil 2 cups of water, which happens to be 16 ounces. So I put the hot water in, I've given it a stir, and you wait 8 to 9 minutes. Now I'm going to tell you about the nutrition facts of this thing, the recommended daily allowance. And as usual with Mountain House, the nutrition facts is per half pouch. Well, are you going to share this with somebody? I don't think so. It's not 2 servings, it's 1 serving. Why do they keep doing this? And I'll tell you why in just a second, okay? So, I'm going to give you the recommended daily allowance of everything in percentage, okay? It's got 68% of the fats that you need every day. And And out of that 68%, 58% of those are saturated fats. I don't know if that's the good or the bad stuff, but fat's fat. Sodium. 86% of your recommended daily allowance of sodium is in this package, okay? It tries to be sneaky and gives you half a dose. It says 43%, but that's for half the package. Carbohydrates, 32%, fibers, 8%, vitamin A, 30%, calcium, 90%. This is 90% of your recommended daily allowance of calcium, so I guess you don't need to drink milk. And iron, 30%. Anyway, the sodium, I guess you just have to ask yourself when you're out camping, do you need the sodium? I think if you were hiking and you were sweating, yes. But normally, possibly no. I would rather add my salt to something than have it put in the package where you don't have the choice. Anyway, I'll get back to you once it's almost ready to eat. While I'm waiting for my mac and cheese, let's talk water filters. Okay, my first 2 trips into Algonquin Park, I took this Grail, the world's fastest water filter, they say. And what it is it's a tube in a tube. So, you've got this. You fill it with water up to this mark, and you plunge this inside, and the filter is on the bottom. Okay, you put it in, and it creates a tight seal, and you push like hell. It's empty right now. But when there's water in it, it takes a lot of effort. And for the first little while, I thought, oh, this is great. This is the world's fastest water filter. And you go all the way down. Then you open up the top and you drink it. Basically, it's a cup and a water filter at the same time. Well, let me tell you, after about 5 or 6 times using it, I got sick and tired of it. It takes a lot of effort to push down. My pack raft, I couldn't. If I filled it up, you'd have to do it with your muscles. You couldn't put it on the ground and push. And it just took too much effort. Now, what I also brought on this trip is a Katadyn. Now talk about easy. Okay? The filter's at the top. You just unscrew, fill the bag with water. Okay, unfiltered water inside. Well, when you drink it, that's when you filter it. If I can figure out how to open it. This is so much easier. I'm thinking of burning this. Grail may have good write-ups and all that kind of stuff, but is a pain in the ass to use. I can guarantee that children and women that aren't on steroids would have a lot of problems using it. I can, excuse my language, excuse the F-bomb. I'm a manly man and I have trouble doing it, okay? I guess the question is though, which will last longer? Do you get more out of one of these, or would you get more filters out of one of these? I guess we'll see, but this is just so easy to carry around with you. You know, it'd always be in the boat. You know, just fill it up, close it, drink it. It's that easy. So much for Grail. Okay, it's time to check out my mac and cheese with 86% of my RDA sodium. Well, first of all, it does smell pretty good. Yeah, it's a bit crunchy, so maybe it's not quite ready. I've given it more than the 8 or 9 minutes. And it was boiling water that I put in here. Well, I'm gonna have to let it sit longer because the elbow noodles or whatever are still hard. Well, I've given it another 5 minutes and the noodles are still crunchy. Maybe they're supposed to be. Tastes good. Tastes like a KD mac and cheese Kraft dinner. I'm finding though that I prefer the Alpine Aire meals compared to the Mountain House. They seem to taste better and the sodium levels are less. At least with what I've eaten. Actually tastes pretty good though. Well, I've almost finished the Mountain House and it's not too bad. Maybe I added slightly too much water. It's almost 8 o'clock. And then time I was cooking this meal and chatting, I just suddenly look up and I see these two white things on the camp over there. And I said, what is that? And it turns out there's two canoes. I looked through my binoculars and there's a bunch of people setting up camp. Boy, they're really pushing it for time, I would think. I mean, what would they have done if there was no spots available here? So I don't know how many people, but I'm guessing probably 4. I was hoping to go out fishing tonight, but the wind just isn't stopping, abating. When it was coming from the other way, about this time, it would ease off, and quite often it would be like glass. Great for fishing, but tonight it's coming from the other way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack up my pack raft, and when it gets a bit darker I'll start a fire. Fire's going pretty good. Just the same, whoever gets the spot next is going to get a whole bunch of firework because all that stuff is left over. It looks lighter than it really is.